So the match ends Tottenham 1, Burnley 0 after Pedro Porro brilliance, and what a goal that was. And I think this is a massive win for Spurs. Was it an exciting game? No. Was it a good game of football? No. Was this a poor performance from Spurs? Yes. And did they drop off a lot in the last 10 minutes after Ange made the subs and put less experienced players like Sessegnon on? Yes. But the way I look at it is, if you're Tottenham Hotspur right now, this January is about results, not performances. No Son, no Sarr, no Basuma. Van De Ven's just about back, but no Romero, no Maddison. All the key players in your squad, all the best players in your squad, bar Vicario and the fullbacks, are essentially kind of out at the moment. You've luckily got Bentancur coming back in, and what a player he is. We're going to talk about how incredible he was. So while Spurs were poor today and it wasn't the best performance from Spurs, I think bar the last 10 minutes, they'd done enough to sort of get a win, but it was the decision-making in the final third that was letting them down. They were missing they were just missing Son in the final third, that guy that can score, that can finish, that can take the chances. They looked a little lost without Son in the final third. I think that Kulu kind of looks better in the middle. I think Brennan kind of looks better on the right-hand side. Just as an observation as a United fan, I haven't watched every Spurs game this season, but the way I see it is this is a massive result. This is a massive win. Give Burnley credit. They came to Spurs. They set up well. Company is not tactically stupid. And Burnley gave Tottenham a tough game, but they defended well. They just lack that quality, Tottenham. And they've got lots of quality. Bentancur, Udogie. I think Ben Davies has stepped up massively. Vicario, Porro. They do. They have that quality, but I'm talking about the Son, the Sarr, even the Basumas, the Maddisons, the Micky Van De Vens, the Romeros, the real quality. That is what they were missing today, because you had players show up. I thought that Bentancur was probably man of the match. Porro had a good game, and Udogie had a great game as always. The back four was solid, but it wasn't quite clicking for the front three. Do you know what I mean? Like, they had players show up, but Højbjerg seemed to not be able to pass. Skip looks out of his depth. Bryan Gil was okay, but he's out of his depth for Spurs. Sessegnon come on, and I thought, he's not ready to be playing, and I forgot they existed, and I'd have loved Sessegnon to come on and score, even as a rival fan, because of the injuries he's had. I would want him to do well. But it wasn't there. It wasn't there, and I think that's why Spurs weren't at their best, but they got the win. And I saw a few Spurs fans unhappy with that, but I'm thinking, surely you should just look at January about getting results, not performances. When you've got that many key players out, it's just about getting results, particularly in the FA Cup, when you need a trophy. It's about getting results. And you got a result today. You're not going to win every match 5-0 and play incredible football. Even Man City, when they won the treble, they got a few crap wins where they didn't play well. It's about just knowing that you've got so many first-team players unavailable, looking at all the factors and thinking, you know what, this is the FA Cup, we need to win it. It's going to be tough though. Burnley might fancy themselves, and you've got a result. A lot of key players were out. When Spurs had that great 10-match run at the beginning of the season, there was Maddison there. You know, if you have Maddison there, Spurs would probably maybe scored 2 goals. I get that Burnley could have scored right at the end there, and I think that Spurs' one weakness is that aerial presence, because they're playing 2 fullbacks at centre-back, but I think the fullbacks did a great job in terms of clearing, sweeping everything up, and I think if they can get Dragusin in, that would be very good for that aerial presence. They're clearly missing the centre-backs. Micky Van De Ven's return will be massive. Son and Maddison missing. Yes, they lacked in the final third, and I think if I'm Spurs, I'll be looking for an attacker in January. I actually think that Brennan Johnson will become a good player. I think that Kulu is a very good player, but I think he actually looks better centrally, or at least when he's operating in those kind of right half spaces. But I think the most impressive player was Bentancur for me, because he's been out injured for a while, and I thought he ran the midfield. If you compare Bentancur with Skip and Højbjerg, there's a big level in quality, and that is Spurs' problem. Because of the injuries, you have to play a lot of your squad. A lot of players that might not be good enough, like Højbjerg, like Skip. And you see when Spurs is all fit, and when they've got Maddison and Son, how good they played, and what Ange is doing, and a fantastic job. And it was just sort of the poorer players today that didn't show up that let them down. But this is the FA Cup. This is a competition where if I'm a Spurs fan, I want to be winning the FA Cup. I want a trophy. Spurs haven't won a trophy, and I don't know when you last won a trophy. It's been a while. And this is your best opportunity to win a trophy, particularly assuming that by the end of January, you'll have the main bulk of your squad back, and you could go on that winning run where you look like the best team in the league for about 5-6 games in a row when you were top of the league. And I think if you're Tottenham and you're Ange, what a best way to start off your reign by winning a trophy. Getting Tottenham that trophy so it can end the old Tottenham don't win a trophy thing. And while Burnley made it difficult, and while I don't think Tottenham were at their best today, and it's about results. It's a results-based business. The cup is about results. This is a classic FA Cup game. I see Spurs fans moaning and complaining. I'm thinking, well, you've seen when everyone's fit the beautiful football Ange plays. You've seen that Ange has got a result. And yes, but bar the last 10 minutes, you never look like conceding. And you've got to take into account that Scarlett came on, Sessegnon came on, Højbjerg came on. You were playing an extremely weak and squad in those final 10 minutes, which is why Burnley maybe went for it and you lost a bit of control. I thought Scarlett looked quite bright, actually. I think he did, actually. I think he was sort of eager to get on the ball, and that looked quite promising. And it'll be interesting to see what he has to offer. But I want to talk about Pedro Porro. I want to talk about a player that I've put in the title, I haven't spoken about yet. He has been phenomenal this season. Last season, there was a few question marks around him. I remember him playing against United and looking impressive last season. And I was like, yeah, there's a player there. But I think he was one of those players that needed to adapt, needed a good manager. He was young. And there was questions, could he play in a back four? Is he good enough defensively? Pedro Porro this season has arguably been the best right back in the league with Trent. And I think his ability on the ball, his technical ability is in that top 1% of right backs generally. I think defensively he's solid. I think Udogie is probably Spurs' best fullback defensively. But I think on the ball, technical qualities, I think he's second after Trent in terms of his that ball, that goal. His ball striking ability is phenomenal. But what I've noticed about Pedro Porro every time I watch him play is how many times he just gets the ball and he lofts it over and he's played Son through on goal, or he's almost played Brennan Johnson through and he's almost played Johnson through and then Johnson will put it across and it leads to a chance for Son. He creates a lot. Not only does he invert into midfield very well and he's very good in build-up and he's got the technical qualities, like he's very good at evading the press, he's very good at keeping the ball, but his eye for a pass is great. His technical ability to play off those long passes is fantastic. I think, in terms of minutes per goal and assist or minutes per expected goals and assists, I think Pedro Porro is actually ranked above Trent this season. He's been phenomenal creatively. But what makes Pedro Porro stand out for me is that goal, this ball striking ability, the fact that he can hit a ball so well technically on the ball. This guy's been great. He's been a back four. He's playing on the Ange Postecoglou system, inverting into midfield. The way he's adapted, the way he's grown this season, Porro's been brilliant. I mean, he's been linked to Manchester City. I think that says it all. I think Udogie's great. I think Udogie's been solid this season. I think one thing about Spurs, their fullbacks are good and they're fit. I mean, they've got lots of fullbacks. They're playing two at centre-back. Ben Davies has been great at centre-back. I think Emerson Royal looked a lot better today. For the back four was had a good game. Vicario, yeah, solid. But Pedro Porro, technically, he's showing these sort of Trent-esque level things, these passes, his intelligence, his IQ, his reading of the game. And I mean, this is probably why Ange has taken such a liking to him. But I think in terms of most improved player over the last year, and I'm talking the whole of Premier League, not Spurs, you'd put Pedro Porro up there. Continuing on, Bentancur, considering he's basically played barely any football for like 9 months, the fact that he came back, didn't look out of it, looked up to the level, that's promising. I think Bentancur will get better as he gets more minutes in it. But what Bentancur has is that composure, that calmness, that coolness. He gets the ball, he takes a few touches, scans around and bish bash bosh, plays the ball smooth. Bentancur, quality player. Spurs have missed him. And I think the fact that Spurs went on that run when he was out, you think Bentancur, Basuma, Maddison or Sarr. I mean, even Gio's been decent in some games this season. You look at it and you go, yeah, well, you know, Bentancur's surely only going to get better, especially when he gets better players around him to play in midfield. But he just looked a level above the rest of the midfielders today. He's got that confidence. He's got that composure. He knows he's a good player. And I thought he was impressive for Spurs. And I always think with him, like, he's just come back from an injury. And the fact that he's so promising, and like he's come back from a big injury, an ACL injury. The fact that he's so promising is massive for Spurs. All in all, I thought the back four was good for Spurs. I think the front three, they missed on. The decision-making was poor. I do think there was times where they could have got to other goals if they'd got Son in there or someone a bit more ruthless, if they had Kane even. And I think it was that inexperience that they were maybe lacking there. And I do think they need another attacker in January because I think they will be quite reliant on Son. But I think Spurs had a very good game. Anyway, I'll be back for Newcastle Sunderland tomorrow. I might do a bonus video in the evening tomorrow. I put some in my community section of video ideas, so do vote on that. Please do hit the like button, smash the subscribe. Bye.